In physiological terms, a murder is an instant where life becomes death. It can be brutal and frenzied, or more prolonged, but nonetheless is generally measured in minutes. But the process before the murder can range massively, depending on the level of preparation and planning. Killers like BTK would stalk victims for many weeks as he fantasized and cogitated. And one would think that this is perhaps a more extreme example of premeditation. But anyone thinking that needs to be aware of today's case, which is sinister, fiendish, and unimaginably cruel. It involves in-depth gaslighting and breaking a trust that the perpetrator had carefully cultivated over several years. In fact, a decade or more before the meticulously planned double murder would occur. This is the vile and vindictive plot of Luke DeWitt and the devastation he wrought on the Baxter family. And this is Murder of Crows. This case, which has only just concluded here in the UK, takes us to West Mersey in Essex. As the name suggests, it is one of two towns on Mersey Island, south of Colchester. This town can be traced back in history to Roman times, and the town had a mention in the Domesday Book in 1086, at which time it was said to have 84 households. In modern times, it's perhaps most notable for the West Mersey Yacht Club, next to which the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, or RNLI, established one of the first 10 inshore lifeboat stations. Also in modern times, it's become something of a retirement haven, with the town having a significant population of more elderly residents. It was here that Stephen and Carol Baxter lived, and also founded a shower mat company called Kaz Splash, and it was where an IT consultant created a website for their newly formed company in around 2012. This IT consultant was Luke DeWitt, and his association with the Baxters would last more than 10 years, with the then 22-year-old becoming more and more entrenched in the Baxters' inner circle over the following years. Stephen and Carol Baxter were 50 and 53 respectively when they met Luke DeWitt. And they had 2 children, a son called Harry and a daughter called Ellie. And Ellie was around 11 at this time. Stephen had worked for a real estate company, and Carol, who was the driving force behind the new shower mat business, had previously worked in adult education. The new business was immediately successful and continued to be so over the years that followed. Even though they had 2 children, the couple warmed to DeWitt as time passed, and eventually came to see him as an additional son, especially after his father died of cancer in 2021. But Luke DeWitt's intentions towards the warm and friendly couple was anything but affectionate. When he discovered that Carol had a diagnosis of Hashimoto's disease, he saw an opening that he could use to begin a process of manipulation. While he'd spent many of the years since first meeting the couple in 2012 wheedling his way into their trust and their confidence, becoming an essential member of their inner circle, and coming to visit every day, walking the 5 minutes from his nearby home. It was actually from 2021 that he moved things into top gear. He started this by creating a false persona, that of Dr. Andrea Bowden. Dr. Bowden was purportedly from Florida and was something of an expert in thyroid conditions, which Hashimoto's disease was. Dr. Bowden began email communications with Carol Baxter, and just as Luke DeWitt himself had become a core member of the Baxter's life, Dr. Bowden's advice and guidance became a key part of Carol's attempts to control her thyroid condition. So much so that Carol became brainwashed by the apparent expertise of the fictional doctor that existed only in the mind of the nerdy computer geek that was Luke DeWitt. Much of the early manipulation by DeWitt focused on Carol, and Dr. Bowden would recommend drinks of boiling water, aspirin and lemon, which DeWitt would prepare for Carol since he was at the Baxter's home so regularly, so he took this task on. But unknown to anyone else, these drinks would contain an extra ingredient. That ingredient being the powerful antihistamine promethazine. In controlled doses, this drug is used to treat allergic reactions, motion sickness, anxiety, and even morning sickness during pregnancy. But it is considered a drowsy or sedating antihistamine since it causes sleepiness. But in excess, it can cause confusion, dizziness, vertigo, and even heart arrhythmias and breathing problems. And it was through prolonged exposure to the drug in the health drinks that led to Carol displaying stroke-like symptoms, yet she would still treat Dr. Bowden's advice as gospel. But Dr. Bowden was just the tip of the iceberg of the interconnected group of fictional characters that DeWitt would create to back up and reinforce his efforts at manipulating Stephen and Carol. And his efforts would also see Ellie and Harry Baxter be taken in by the convincing and entirely plausible world he was creating. In fact, DeWitt had more than 80 electronic devices that he used to create at least 20 fake personas, many of which had other family members and associates, in an intricate web of characters that served to reinforce the need for health drinks and also reinforce how great and reliable a doctor Andrea Bowden was. In fact, DeWitt created an entire online support group for sufferers of Hashimoto's disease, with many of the members of that group having full backstories. One of the members of the support group had a sister called Jenny, who became another key player in the fabricated world. Jenny was a musical theatre producer who advised the family that she could help Stephen and Carol's daughter Ellie with her dreams of becoming a vocalist. Jenny asked Ellie to send recordings of her singing, and it was Luke DeWitt who helped Ellie in making these recordings to send.
Hi Carol, it's Jelly. It's Jenny.
Hi Carol, it's Jenny. It's Cheryl's sister. Yes, oh, so nice to finally speak to you after all these messages we've been doing.
With Carol's increasing sleepiness, a result of the secret drugging by DeWitt, it seemed that Stephen Baxter was becoming depressed and seeming lonely without Carol's constant presence. It was at this point that DeWitt saw an opportunity for escalation, disguised as a seeming improvement in Carol's condition, with the aim of drawing Stephen into his despicable scheme of manipulation, as he realized there could be financial benefits to the end game he was envisaging. DeWitt implemented a new health drink of smoothies that tasted disgusting, but were, according to the many fictional sources, highly beneficial. By gradually withdrawing Carol's promethazine doses with this switch, she would show a seeming improvement, which DeWitt could use to convince Stephen Baxter that he may benefit from the smoothies too. As soon as both of them were committed to the new regime, DeWitt planned the end point of his game. During the latter stages of his father's ultimately unsuccessful fight against cancer, when it was clearly a palliative stage, DeWitt's father was given fentanyl patches to aid with pain relief. Now, anyone who follows criminal cases, especially in the US, will be aware of fentanyl's increasing presence within drug-related deaths due to its massive potency and strength. It is 100 times more potent than morphine and 50 times more potent than heroin. So it was always going to be open to misuse. But that would come with the huge increase in the likelihood of accidental overdose for people unaware of the massive difference in strength. So with access to a source of this drug, DeWitt began a process of extracting the fentanyl from these patches with a view to preparing a final pair of smoothies, each with a lethal dose of the drug. Ironically, he gave the couple these lethal smoothies on the evening of Good Friday 2023. He then watched the progress of his efforts on his mobile phone, which was remotely connected to a camera that he had placed in the Baxter home. By the late evening, the couple were incapacitated, seated in their conservatory. In an example of how brazen DeWitt was, he actually went to Frankie and Benny's on the Saturday evening with Ellie Baxter and her partner, Marcus. When the couple hadn't been heard from for a day or so, Ellie called at her parents' home on Easter Sunday, and she saw them lying pale and lifeless in the conservatory, which was locked. Ellie, understandably very concerned and panicked, actually used a sledgehammer to break into the conservatory, but soon realized that there was little that could be done. As a measure of how entrenched DeWitt was within the Baxter family, the first call Ellie made on finding her parents was to him. In a harrowing 999 call, Ellie could be heard sobbing, "They're poisoned, they're dead, they're frozen."
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm the friend. They just called me over.
Okay, right. Are you with the patient now?
They are there.
Right, okay.
They're like dead sick.
So you're saying there, so just to confirm, how many people are hurt?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Well,
How many people require help, just to confirm?
2. Husband and wife.
Right. Stay on the phone with me. Right, just down there, sorry, just stay on the phone with me, please.
So I need to come outside. It's their daughter you can hear.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So I'm organising help for you now. Just stay on the phone with me. Right, so just to confirm, so, liaise with colleagues, just stay on the phone with me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you inside. You can hear their daughter devastated. I'm here.
So just tell me exactly what's happened from what you know, please, just so we can all go to best care.
Well, we just turned up to the house, and we hadn't really heard from anyone for about a day and a half. So we came round, and their daughter got here first, and I think they got round to the back, saw through their conservatory that they were sitting in their armchairs, not moving. There's some blood from her mouth. She slumped over, yellow, blue fingers, cold, they're stiff, like hard.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm all going to someone to
Okay, we've got someone here. First responder's here.
Alright, that's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to stay on the phone with you just so we can organise that appropriate care, because I understand we've got people involved. So I am someone sent to assist you. Obviously, please leave everything as you found it. Is there anything else that we can do for you or the patient's family at all?
Well, her daughter's devastated, so I'm sure there's something.
And you say you last saw them on Friday?
Friday. I got home just before 8, so that's when I left. And me and Steve were just talking about work and just the business, because Carol can't work anymore.
Yeah.
Last year she's not been able to do anything.
Okay.
My mum's sister. So we're just having a chat, but he didn't really feel up to it and just
Fair enough.
asked me to go. So
That's fair enough.
I was going to come back tomorrow and
just check on them again.
use the gym, and I'm used to checking on. I always pop in because they wanted this weekend, Easter weekend.
Just left them to it.
So with me, I was out with those two last night. Took them for dinner for Eddie's birthday, and Steve's mum, Irene, who lives in London, was worried that she wasn't answering her calls either.
Right.
Which again isn't unusual. They want time away.
Yeah.
But because we were concerned, me, Ellie, and Marcus drove past here.
And I called Ross because Rachel's in Portugal.
Okay, just to make, we were worried. But because we saw the blinds are down and the light was on,
You thought,
they're doing what they want. They've got their weekend, the lights are on, they're just ignoring us. All cool.
Okay.
So then Eddie called me this morning, and I was always, I think we're both a bit uneasy.
Yeah, as you would be, understandable.
And Eddie popped by first, saw the blinds were still down, immediately panicked. I was meeting. Just giving
mum's coming down to
they're in the chairs, they're not moving, not replying. So I literally ran from home to
here to come check. Okay.
And just as I got here, they just smashed the back window to get in.
Okay, fair enough. So you last saw them alive on Friday. Cool. And have you seen them today? Did you go in to see them yourself?
I have been in there, yeah.
Okay.
And I went upstairs, and the paramedic asked me to get all of Carol's medication that she's got to look. Because sometimes she'll have various things over the years and for various operations she's had. And so I went upstairs and got anything that I thought looked like a tablet drawer downstairs, and put it in a brown box for the paramedic. I don't know if any of it's valid, but I know Carol.
That's right. Yeah, they like to know what people take, gives them an idea of what they suffer
you don't know what
she's actually taken.
Because quite often she might take, she has every morning levothyroxine, but sometimes she forgets and she could take it 6 or 7 times. I know that's really that, but I mean, she doesn't know. Or
she doesn't know she's taken it loads of times.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's all we need to know for now. Yeah. We'll be in contact again, I'm sure, in the near future. But yeah, I really appreciate your time, and obviously very sorry for what's happened.
After their death, Ellie even received a message of condolence from Jenny, the theatre producer that had befriended her and her parents. Police initially assumed the Baxters had died from carbon monoxide poisoning, but tests revealed the fentanyl in their systems and launched a murder investigation. While these tests were occurring, DeWitt moved to the next stage of his plan. He crafted a fake will on his mobile phone at around 7 a.m. on Easter Sunday, making himself the beneficiary and inheritor of the couple's shower mat firm Splash. He also referred to himself as their dear friend Luke DeWitt, who would become director and person with significant control. During searches, police found the will, which you won't be surprised to learn was not the long-held document held by the Baxter's solicitors, and they also found used fentanyl patches. These, along with CCTV evidence, led to DeWitt being arrested in July and subsequently charged with 2 counts of murder.
Obviously, that's Luke, the reason we're here today, mate, is I'm going to have to arrest you, mate, alright? And that's on suspicion of murder. Alright, as part of a police investigation, you've been identified as being a suspect in relation to the deaths of Caroline and Stephen Baxter, 27th and 9th of April, 2023, alright? Okay. So, I mean, you don't have to say anything, but may harm your defence. If you do not mention when questioned, something you may later on in court, anything you do say may be evidence. That's so we can interview about the offence, enable any forensics that we need to be done, prevent any interaction with any co-defendants, alright, and to prevent any loss of damage or any evidence. Yeah. Alright. So we'll be taking you up to Chelmsford custody, and then there'll be a process from there, mate, alright? Have you been arrested before? No. Never been arrested, no? No. The process will be explained throughout, or obviously we're limited information what we've got at the moment, but anything further will be explained throughout the investigation, alright? Because I've never met you before, and obviously because of the offence of the allegation, I'm going to put you in handcuffs, but they're going to be at the front stack, buddy, alright? Just leave everything in your pocket in a minute, mate.
Do you have anything upstairs, like phone, keys, what they come out?
No, it's in my pocket.
It's all on you, so.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any medical conditions?
No.
That we need to be aware of, so?
No.
Cool. I'll make sure you fit. Have you not got to have an epileptic fit on us or something?
No, nothing.
What have you got in your pockets, mate?
Phone.
In what pocket?
That one.
That pocket there, and keys in the other pocket?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll leave them where they are at the moment, alright? We, when we get in the car, don't put your hands in your pockets, just leave them obviously out, and we'll get that out when we get to custody, alright?
Fraser, receiving?
The scale of DeWitt's deception and manipulation were laid bare at the trial held at Chelmsford Crown Court just last month in March of 2024. While DeWitt's defence tried to throw a spanner in the works by revealing regular fights between the Baxter children and their parents, including alleged screaming matches between the parents and Ellie, the jury were unmoved by Luke DeWitt's efforts to shift the blame. He was found unanimously guilty of both murders after 8 hours of deliberations.
Crime for Essex Police. I can now say what we at Essex Police have believed for some time, that Luke DeWitt is a cold and calculated murderer. He would befriend people and purport to be an upstanding, helpful and kind member of the community. The reality is far more sinister. DeWitt went to great lengths to cover up his tracks. He deceived everyone who knew him, who welcomed him into their family homes and who relied upon him for help, or at least what they believed was help. Those lies and that deception continued in the evidence he gave in court. Disgracefully, he based his defence on collusion between himself and Stephen Baxter. Stephen is tragically not here to defend himself, but from everything we knew about him, we know this could never have been the case. Thankfully, today, the jury have seen through DeWitt's fantasies and delivered guilty verdicts. There was no bloody murder scene, there was no obvious murder weapon, but Carol and Stephen Baxter's deaths were acts of murder carried out by a dangerous man who clearly planned to get away with it. In all my years of policing, Luke DeWitt is one of the most dangerous men I have ever come across. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, had he not been caught, he would have gone on to kill further people. This was a significant and unique police investigation involving many teams across the force. The download and analysis of DeWitt's digital devices was one of the most complex we have ever seen. The holes in DeWitt's false account were opened to expose lies, deceit and calculated planning. He can now look forward to a very long prison sentence. We cannot forget the devastating impact this has had on Carol and Stephen's family, and our thoughts will remain with them as they, I truly hope, continue to rebuild their lives. I hope there is some comfort for them in knowing that the man responsible is now where he should be. Thank you.
Before he was sentenced, Ellie Baxter gave a powerful victim impact statement, saying, "I tried to push Mum to go to the doctor, which she did, but she was completely brainwashed by Dr. Andrea Bowden." She went on to say that DeWitt would get her mother to send videos to Dr. Bowden to help her treatment. Going on to say, "But in reality, Luke just wanted to see and watch the outcome of his twisted, abominable actions. Sometimes even filming my mum himself and laughing." Ellie's love for her parents was clear, with her saying she, in reference to Carol, was my best friend. We would laugh together, cry together, and support each other. Over the coming years, we had planned to go travelling, as we both wanted to go to Japan and to India. A dream of ours that now can never be fulfilled. And when speaking about her father, Ellie said that he loved playing the guitar and inspired a love of music in his children. She called him a strong man who used to tell her that there are no shortcuts in life. She added, "He worked every day of his life and provided for Mum, my brother, and I. There was nothing we ever needed. He loved us all." Describing the moment she found her parents on April the 9th, Ellie said they were stiff and stone cold after she found them slumped in armchairs in their conservatory. She said that she never knew emotional pain could physically hurt so much. It was like my insides were on fire. I screamed and screamed, but nothing I did was helping. I pleaded for them to wake up. I begged them. But of course they could not wake. The next time I saw Mum and Dad, they were in body bags. In the months leading up to their deaths, Ellie has said that her mother struggled to cope with the drugs that she was being given, saying, "Dad seemed lonely. Mum was too unwell. She struggled to eat and could not stay awake. My mum being drugged for so long and needing such constant help was slowly but surely tearing away every last bit of my dad's soul. I felt so helpless." Ellie said that her parents had taken pity on DeWitt after his father died in 2021, believing that the young man was lonely. She said they took him in and took him under their wing and would let him join in, even in our personal family birthday meals. And she said that the stress of discovering that DeWitt, who she previously described as being like a brother to her, was the investigation's prime suspect, almost caused her to lose her unborn baby. When speaking about DeWitt, she said, "A man my family protected and cared for. A man who lied his way into our lives. A man so manipulative he hacked his way into our lives over a decade ago, schemed and thoroughly planned my parents' demise. Years of pain and trauma were given to us, and the chance of countless years and endless memories have been snatched from my family and me." Justice Lavender sentenced DeWitt to life with a minimum term of 37 years, with him emphasizing the significant aggravating factors in the scale of his deception and his premeditation of the murders. I will show the full sentencing remarks on the screen for your perusal, but the bottom line is that the judge, and I'm paraphrasing here and perhaps taking slight liberties, but the judge believed DeWitt was a total cockwomble. Police described DeWitt as one of the most dangerous criminals they had ever faced, with the senior investigating officer left in no doubt that had he not been stopped, DeWitt would have gone on to kill again. Many of those who knew DeWitt have struggled to accept that the polite, mild-mannered boy who grew up on Mercy Island was capable of such cruelty. A close friend of the DeWitt family stated, "I've known him for 30 years. I knew him as a little boy. He used to come round to our house. Throughout that time, up until the day he was arrested, I thought he was a polite, nice lad. I just can't understand it."
Today, Luke DeWitt has been given a life sentence and will serve a minimum of 37 years in jail. However, it is simply impossible to put a number on the lives of Carol and Stephen. They were loving, generous parents, and they touched the lives of many. They are entering a period in their lives where they should have been able to enjoy precious time with their grandchildren. They should have been planning holidays, looking forward to spending Christmases with family and living their lives to the full. Luke DeWitt took all that away in April 2023. He tried to cover it up. He went to great lengths to blame others who we know were not involved in any way. He clearly enjoyed the control he exerted over people, especially Carol and Stephen. Ultimately, the only person in this world who knows why he did this is Luke DeWitt, and he has proven time and time again to be a manipulator. What we do know is the significant sentence handed down is entirely fitting for the pathological liar that he is. For almost a year, we have been determined to secure justice in its entirety, and today marks the conclusion of one of the most complex investigations undertaken at Essex Police. 37 years in prison is a significant time, and there will not come a point where he will have spent more than his life in jail than not. Today, though, it's not about Luke DeWitt. It's about Carol, Stephen, and it's about their family. We know nothing will bring Carol and Stephen back. We know nothing can give the family back their loving mother, sister and grandmother, or their generous father, brother and grandfather. However, I truly hope this sentence is of some comfort to the family. Thank you.
Could I ask if the family thought that justice had been done?
I think we are very pleased with the result.
And that was the diabolical case of Luke DeWitt, and how he manipulated an entire family with an intricate web of fictional characters and fake medical advice, culminating in the deaths of two innocent and trusting people. The cruelty and vindictiveness he displayed was remarkable and unquestionably evil. Ellie Baxter's words about her parents do them greater justice than I ever could. So I will just say that this video is of course dedicated to Stephen and Carol Baxter. I hope they are at peace. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I'm Steve. This, of course, is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.